morning to all of you. At the very outset, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you on one-day national webinar on a topic, historical tourism and its impact on nation building. I am sure you're all aware that Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat was announced by our Honorable Prime Minister on 30th October 2015 on an important occasion of 140th birth anniversary of Bhai Patel. Subsequently, Government of India announced innovative measures through which knowledge of culture, traditions, and practices of different states and union territories will lead to an enhanced understanding and bonding between the states, thereby strengthening the unity and integrity of India. The broad objective of this program is to celebrate the unity and diversity of our nation and to maintain and strengthen the fabric of existing emotional bonding between the people of different states and union territory, and to promote the spirit of national integration through a deep and structured engagement between all states and union territories, and to showcase the rich heritage and culture, custom and traditions of either states for enabling people to understand and appreciate the diversity that is India, thus fostering a sense of common identity. The basic objective of Ek Bharat and Shreshtha Bharat is to connect people of different states through exchanges in the areas of culture, tourism, language, education, and trade, so that the citizens will be able to experience the cultural diversity of large number of states. As a result of this initiative, Regional Center Kolkata, Regional Center Port Blair, Regional Center Cochin, and Regional Center Siliguri organizing a national webinar on historical tourism and its impact on nation building under Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat Week. I'm extremely happy to inform you that we have eminent panelists to discuss on this topic today. Therefore, it is my proud privilege to extend warm welcome to Professor Rupendra Kumar Chattopadhyaya, Vivekananda Chair, Professor Social Science, University of Kolkata. It is also my pleasure to extend warm welcome to Dr. Somenand Nag, Professor, North Bengal University. At the same time, I would also like to extend my warm welcome to Dr. P. Abdul Salam, Assistant Professor, Department of BBA Tourism, JNRM, Port Blair. And it is also a proud privilege for me to extend my warm welcome to Mr. Siva MS, District Youth Officer, Nehru Yuva Kendra, Lakshadi. And it is also a great privilege for me to extend my warm welcome to my colleagues, Dr. Rajarao, Senior Regional Director, RC Port Blair, Dr. Dorothy, the Senior Regional Director, RC Cochin, Dr. Pranalankar, Regional Director, RC Siliguri. I'm very much looking forward to hear from the eminent panelists to hear their thought about the historical tourism of their region, which is the utmost importance of this country. With these few words, I would like once again to thank all of you and extend my warm welcome to all of you once again. Thank you, and now over to Dr. Sujata.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to request Dr. Suram Rajarao, Senior Regional Director, Regional Center, Port Blair. Sir, please deliver the opening remarks.
Good morning to all of you. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Here.
Good morning to all of you. I thank you very much for the Kolkata Regional Center Regional Director Dr. Shivkumar and Dr. Sujata and the team for wonderfully organizing and planning this one-day webinar as a part of celebration of Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And greetings from the most beautiful land of India, that is Port Blair. It is a wonderful place to be, and I extend a warm welcome to all of you to visit once at least this beautiful place. There's Port Blair, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It's a wonderful place. With this thing, a few words. Now, I am extremely happy to associate myself and participate. Kolkata Regional Center is the host RC, and the Cochin and the Port Blair and Siliguri are participating regional centers under this this program. And I extend a warm welcome to my colleagues, Dr. Dorothy and Dr. Praveen Pralayankar, and my regards to the panel, eminent panel speakers today, Professor Rupendra Kumar Chattopadhyay sir, and Dr. Somendranath Nag, Dr. P. Abdul Salam, and Mr. Shiva, District Youth Officer, Lakshadi. And I extend a warm welcome again from RC Port Blair for accepting our invitation with a short notice and agreeing to participate and share your valuable thoughts under the and as you all know, tourism plays very vital role. Tourism plays very vital role. India is such a vast country where we have a lot of places. It's a diversified country, but it is one. But it is India, that is Bharat. We have diversified languages, cultures, food habits, a lot of things. Diversity. In every aspect, we'll find a lot of diversity, but still we are all one. And in order to forge unity and integrity of the nation, we thought of organizing this one-day program, historical tourism and its impact on national integration, nation building. And under Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat program aims to enhance integration, interaction, and promote mutual understanding between people of different states and union territories. Under this program, IGNOU has collaborated and paired some regional centers with other regional centers. Under this collaborative program, we are organizing these programs. This is just a half-day program, and I'm definitely happy that the participants and the people who are watching this program would definitely understand about the different tourism locations and tourism, importance of tourism, and how it is contributing for the building of the nation. Till my visit to the Port Blair, my transfer to the Port Blair, I am not aware of what are the historical locations here. That's why I think in order to promote an interaction between the different people, I think we need to visit different places and know the culture, know the food habits, and a lot of things we need to share. And India is such a wonderful country where we'll get a lot of opportunities wherever we go to meet the people and to know the culture, whatnot, everything. And with these few introductory words, I conclude here, and we'll give more and more time to the panelists so that they can elaborately explain and we all get benefit out of their expertise and the I take this opportunity to thank all of you and extend a warm welcome and greetings from RC Port Blair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very brief and very focused intervention. Our next speaker, Dr. J.S. Dorothy, Senior Regional Director, Regional Center, Cochin. I'd like to request you to give your intervention, which is very vital because it is a reflection of why it was decided that Kolkata, Lakshadi, Andaman and Siliguri should be brought together under one tourism umbrella, or under one umbrella. So your reflection on the logic of our coming together, similarity in culture in Kolkata, Lakshadweep, Andaman and Siliguri, and its impact on tourism. Madam, please. Dr. Dorothy?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just ma'am. My screen is through, ma'am.
Yes, we can see, or you can probably put the slideshow mode now.
Sorry. This opportunity has been given by Kolkata Regional Center. I am grateful to Dr. Shivakumar sir for giving this opportunity. And I also thank Dr. B. Sukumar sir, Regional Director, Trivandrum, for sharing the WebEx platform for the live relay. And this session will be a base for the panel discussion, I can say. I've arranged the places in alphabetical order. So similarity in culture in Andaman, Kolkata, Lakshadi, and Siliguri, and its impact on tourism. So culture, if you ask me, it is a knowledge people use to interpret experience and generate behavior. And many a time it is a societal norm, that is rule of behavior. It also involves the value, that is the standard of behavior, and also the belief and acceptance that something exists without any proof, like faith or a social custom. So this culture is basically belief, practice, artifact of a group, and society represents the social structure and organization, and culture and society go together. So when we are talking about a culture, we are talking about a society which is prevalent in that local situation. And so what has happened is this Andaman multilingual expertise, it has its unique characteristics, and it has the sea, mountain, reef, etc. And it is extremely the venture when it comes, as Dr. Rao sir was saying, and presence of unexplored places. So even now there are inhabited islands, and the influence of neighboring countries like Burma, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei exists, and there is an evidence of past happening, and movement of the local people depends upon the climatic situations there. And similarly in Kolkata, it is called the cultural capital of India. It has the modern Indian literary contributions for it, the artistic thought, and it has one place unique market. For example, book people say, if you want one book which is not, it is under print and it is not, you want it urgently, go to Kolkata and get it. And if it's not available in that market, it's never available anywhere here. Like that, it's the same even. Beyond Kolkata, this statement is heard. And influence of neighboring country also exists, like Bangladesh, Burma, and China, and evidence of past happenings, that is before independence or even before the era of independence, whatever happened. So, for example, the prison where the house where the Tipu Sultan has been kept, that is also even now it is kept. So all that. And also we always talk about Brahmaputra and the climatic situation affecting the routine of the Calcutta as a place. So the climatic situation hampers the movement of people there. And Lakshadi, even though we say it's only 32 kilometers, it has 12 atoll. Atoll means a ring-shaped reef of islands formed of coral. And 3 reef. Reef is a ridge of jagged rock or sand just above or below the surface. And 5 submerged bank. Submerged bank is, it won't hinder the navigation, but the sea floor is raised up. And it has inhabited islands. It has influence of neighboring countries, Maldives, Arab country, and China. And the Chinese nets are very common, fishing nets common all over the world. So it has its impact also. And similarly, the climatic conditions do affect the movement there. And Siliguri, it's the gateway of the Northeast. It has the scenery mountains. It is always a place to be, longing to be visited. And it has influence on neighboring countries, China, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. And the movement dependent on climatic conditions. And the uniqueness of this it will affect the surrounding places also. That the movement hindered here. And it also has remembrance or evidence of the past happenings. So with this in mind, the culture, the similarity of the culture in mind, how it can impact the tourism. So it strengthens the attractiveness or competitiveness of regions and culture, and also it creates distinctness, and it enhances and preserves heritage. That is synergy. Culture combined with tourism is very high, and the demand for live seeing rather than sightseeing is more prominent as the impact of culture is being felt on tourism. And this has been documented in one of the tourism magazines. That's why I've taken with the reference. So basically we have three types of tourism. The heritage tourism, the cultural tourism, the creative tourism. And the primary focus of heritage tourism is past. Whereas for cultural tourism is past and present. The creative tourism is past, present, and future. And when we think about the culture, we have to think of the four types of culture, rather five, I should say. The high culture, it is the cultural objects of aesthetic value. The folk culture is local and it is only for that particular group. And the popular culture is that it is the ordinary people's taste rather than the educated people's taste. And the mass culture is that which is influenced by the mass media. So if we think about the heritage tourism, the high culture and the folk culture comes into picture, and the cultural tourism highlight on the high and popular culture, whereas the creative tourism, it has the high, popular and mass culture. So with this, how we will react is when the ability of the local populace to make the stranger to feel at home while on tour. See, not always, if you go to all these four places, you will feel welcomed by the local people. And welcoming atmosphere is equal to safety for the stranger exploring the local space. So the government is also at ease that somebody, whoever comes here is safe. And accustomed to the place by liking the culture with the first visit being a tourist. So what happens is many a times we hear of stories. So-and-so came as tourists and they got involved in the culture. Now they are empowering the local populace to reach to what it is expected in the global market. Then social mobility also takes place as period of time. And we are just talking about the similarities in culture and its impact on tourism. So the building which reflects history exists in all the four places. And when you talk about a building, we always talk about the person, the events involving the person, and the history behind the person and the building. So even if we go to our grandparents' home or some place where we studied, we immediately talk about how we felt and how what are the things it was happening and who was there. So similarly, in all the four places, the Andaman, Kolkata, the Lakshadi and Siliguri, we have buildings which reflect history. It has natural scenery and memorable interaction with the local is always felt, and there is spiritual empowerment, whether it is masjid or the places of other worship. It is unique and people do have a memory of what has to be taken from each of these four places. That is the unity in their culture, which has an impact on the tourism. And initially, people have come with research intention, leading to an instrument of local empowerment that is also there. And facilitating online trading of locally available goods, that is local market available at global reach. So that is also facilitated. So So we may say that food, clothing, and shelter is the basic one. Beyond this, what next is exploring the other place. And even though it is said life is more than food and body more than clothing, we always talk about visiting, socializing, and initially what is possible by our presence of the same kith and kin is now possible of tourism or going to unexplored places with the kith and kin. So this unity in diversity with tourism as a bridge is still a common platform, because life seeing, that is culture seeing, is gaining more momentum when compared to sightseeing. And there is no partiality, I should say. Every culture has its uniqueness. And with this, what I want to say is this historical tourism, whether it is impact on nation building, has a say when it comes to the uniqueness of culture, its recognition and its impact on the tourism in the local place. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this wonderfully insightful, practical points that you have brought out. And I'm sure this is going to direct our panel in very fruitful ways. Well, it is now my privilege to walk this esteemed assemblage of dignitaries and participants for an overview of the panel discussion. What are the focus of this discussion, and what is the expected outcome going to come from that? I would like to take this opportunity and give a short overview for the reasons and for the objectives of why we had conceptualized the panel discussion as into historical tourism and its impact on nation building. Ladies and gentlemen, this opportunity to celebrate one of the most elevated historical events in world history is not a small achievement for our nation. We are celebrating the 73rd Indian independence movement and our freedom struggle for that matter. No other country in this world can claim a freedom struggle that expressed a humanity that transcended values of individual freedom and self-realization to the extent that Indian freedom struggle revealed to the world. No other nation in the world could rise against the onslaught of colonial masters in a mass movement that was not only focused on the power of non-violence as seen in Gandhi's Swaraj, but also in Netaji's power of armed mobilization, military prowess, and strategic planning. The diversity from violence or armed movement to non-violence is exemplary. In fact, it is recorded that even when the armed revolutionaries were sent to the gallows, they carried a Gita as a text and Vivekananda's writings with them. The invaluable insightful character of Indian history and its contribution to the making of the current state of India's resilient democracy and universal vision of inclusion, democratic values is a vital contribution to humanity, common goal of common global history. It is this commitment to celebrating Indian history that motivated us to conceptualize this program with an aim to integrate historical reflection, historical wisdom, and knowledge of history with concrete strategies for nation building, and in this case, tourism as an instrument for sustainable development, for economic growth and well-being of local communities was thought to be highlighted. Ladies and gentlemen, history is a very powerful instrument to impact the tourism industry. Experiences from all over the world have shown that when we transform an inert story from the past into a visual, living experience, it becomes an interactive means of communicating wisdom from the past. The element of mysterious nostalgia makes it a powerful attraction for tourists. Also, The urge to learn from our past, both as a lesson and celebration of heritage, can contribute to constructive, sustainable social planning and economic development of the region from a local perspective, which will enable the local communities to enhance their self-esteem and feeling of contribution to the overall nation building. It is felt that an institutional network and a systemic approach to historical tourism could be an effective way of delineating a sustainable development paradigm for the nation. If we break the word historical tourism, we will see that while lessons from the history could enhance the national character based on its unique histories and ideologies, higher values, traditions, significant events for nation building, tourism as a development paradigm for economic growth has the potential to convert this intangible emotional value into tangible profit-centric enterprise, to improve real life, economic standard and living conditions, to generate a well-being and luxury in some sectors. Sustainable tourism through local history can ensure local development in a way that is inclusive, in a way that is equitable, accessible, and environment friendly. Following from here, this esteemed panel is requested to address the embedded issues, strategies, and challenges that characterize historical tourism and its realization for true nation building. We hope the discussion will emphasize a tourist-centric institutional framework based on identifying unique historical interests, infrastructure support, experiential quality enhancement, connectivity, etc., and collate the diverse aspects to make tourism an important means of local sustainable development. In this context, I request the panel to enrich us on a few delineated areas, but obviously not definitely limited to them. Can we probably throw some light on how exactly documentation and identification of new historical sites of interest could be made? How could infrastructure building and revival of case studies of historical significance take place? Could we also identify unique historical artifacts, stories that could be brought under a single window display, maybe in a museum setup? Also identify unique histories, biographies, and events that are local and region specific, but has the potential to evolve into global historical legacy, invaluable for youth to inculcate into their common shared experiences. Last but not the least, another area would be how can we deliver effective training strategies for professional guides, curators, academics as professional experts in history? What are the means and strategies to create institutional network that could highlight the need-based approach of tourists with historical interest? Thank you very much for this opportunity of laying out a brief overview, which I hope the panel will keep in focus during the discussion. I will now begin the panel discussion, and I would like to request Professor Upendra Kumar Chattopadhyay, Vivekananda Chair, Professor of Social Sciences, Calcutta University. Please, can you please make your intervention, sir?
Yeah. I have no word to express my gratitude to you all, Shiv Kumarji, Professor Shiv Kumarji, Dr. Sujata Datta, and other directors and officials of IGNOU Regional Center, Kolkata, Blair, Cochin, Siliguri, and others. I have lots of limitation so far as your objective is concerned, but since I'm the practitioner of history as well as archaeology, I may provide some of the basic outline what exactly we used to talk about tourism. Tourism could be defined in different ways. Popularly, the term abuses in different contexts. Leisure, pleasure, attract the people any way. But being an academician, while talking about historical context by and large, we must think about the relationship between academic understanding and its practice, along with authenticity of the events, authenticity of the objects, and so as the other issue. Here, I am trying to focus on a few help you to articulate your major objective while talking about historical phenomena, and we are trying to give a look on the different dimensions of historical reconstruction. And for me, historiography could parallelly be operative with the development of tourism, so that historical thoughts, whether nationalist historiography or Marxist historiography or subaltern historiography, that necessarily make a permanent impact on our mind to reorient, to reorganize our tourism activities. For example, while talking about the reconstruction of the history of the relationship between plateau and plain, for instance, Chotanagpur Plateau and the Middle Ganga and Lower Ganga Valley, then how one could read the relationship between producer and consumer in the context of heritage, our living heritage as well as past heritage. For example, while talking about the exploitation of metal and mineral resources from Chotanagpur Plateau and the rise of Mahotsav in Pataliputra, how one could motivate the generic relationship between the historical sites or the mining sites in and around Hazaribagh, Shingbhum and other areas, and its supply to Rajagriha, then both Gaya, Nalanda, and even Pataliputra, so that one can meaningfully explain the theme with the help of the tourism program and its interconnective network. Similarly, spiritualism is another part of our academic understanding. The rise of Buddhism, rise of Jainism, rise of Hinduism, and different sects of religious ideologies. Here I may, besides other things, I'm not elaborating the entire issue. For example, if you go through the connection between Chotanagpur and the heartland of Middle Ganga or the Bihar plateau, like Rajagriha, then Nalanda, Vikramshila, and the other site, Buddhist sites in Bihar, and the Buddhist site Itkweri in the core area of Ranchi and Jharkhand area, so that the river valley like Lilajan played an important role. Damodar Valley played an important role to connect the plateau and plain, and therefore the routes of pilgrimage, so that if your tourism program also enhance some way this connectivity in the context of tourist as well as the other related issues or heritage maintenance program or infrastructure program, that may help us in a different way. In the other context, while talking about rise of Shaivism or Vaishnavism, the pre-Chaitanya Vaishnava spiritual leaders, Chaitanya times spiritual leader, and the post-Chaitanya spiritual reader, then one may not rule out Chandidas of medieval Bengal, Boru Chandidas, Tijo Chandidas, Rami Chandidas, Chandidas of Birbhum, Chandidas of Bankura, Chandidas and other. If you go through the work of Dinesh Sen, then you will get an idea how the pre-Chaitanya Vaishnavism played an important role in the spread of Vaishnavism in the entire Lower Ganga Valley. Similarly, if your tourism entertain the routes followed by Sri Chaitanya, or the Parikrama Patha of Sri Chaitanya from the Bhagirathi to the other part, including Kalinga Desha or Odisha, and then the travel account of Chaitanya to Jharkhand, so that all this issue certainly an important aspect of tourism. While talking about Neo-Brahmanism or the leaders who spread Neo-Brahmanism in Bengal, if you follow the novel of Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, that is Durgesh Nandini or Kapal Kundala, then certainly the find spot related to the Neo-Brahmanism during the time of Bankim Chandra, and the find spot of Shaleshwar Shoileshwar temple complex of Bankura near Vishnupur, then the god Jaipur, that is also a very relevant center of tourism, and so as Kotalpur. So the entire issue related to the intellectuals work and its context, logical as well as historical finding, provide some data to extend our viewpoint related to tourism. Similarly, Sannyasi Rebel, the sites related to Sannyasi Rebel could be a very important or significant issue so far as the tourism is concerned, how one could map the sites that the rebel has taken place. On the other hand, the tribal rebel like Santal Vidraha or rebel, Chuar Vidraha, and its fine spot in Midnapur, Bankura, Purulia, and other areas. If you tie up in a map of tourism, and if you explain the history of such development, then it would be a very fruitful exercise so far as the relationship between academic understanding and so as to serve the purpose of tourism. Now coming down to freedom fighters and their fine spot like Midnapur, Matongini Hajra, and the site as well as the assemblages associated with Matongini Hajra or Moishadal Rajbari, the activity in Moishadal Rajbari, and the freedom fighters in and around Tomluk or Tambulipta, as well as Moishadal, and even in Bankura, you can get enough evidence to elaborate the freedom fighters' existence in different spine forms. So that, if your tourist map could provide some of the interesting discourse related to the theoretical knowledge as well as practical of tourism dimension. So that this is a few important thoughts that I found some merit of our discussion. I am extremely sorry for my shortcomings to present my speech without having PowerPoint and other site-based analysis. Then it will help you to know the truth behind these wild thoughts related to tourism and its bearing with the intellectual mind, or the area yet to explore in a very specific way. Archaeological map will provide you the monumentality of something or the existing knowledge like Vishnupur or other. But while talking about the activity of a site or the individual and its bearing with fine spot, then freedom fighters issue, freedom struggle issues, tribal rebel issues, Shanasi rebel and other issues have enough relevance to express such thing. Since it is a panel discussion, I may ask or I may, and you may ask me if anything. Madam, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So sorry about that. You see, these are limitations of technology. I had muted it and forgotten to unmute it. But what I wanted to say is my absolutely heartful gratitude for what you have delivered right now, and the lack of PowerPoint presentation really did not make any impact because your insights were so clear. And yes, the challenge is really how do we convert an intangible, value-based, emotional, intellectual concepts into real hardcore strategies which are tourism-based, which are pragmatic and profit-oriented enterprises. That is the real challenge, and this is where interventions like intellectuals like you could help these kind of projects to move forward. And we have, so that we do not lose the basic essence of it when we create those enterprises. The essence and the historicity and the real purpose of creating tourism through history, that has to be kept in mind, and where we come together. Thank you very much, sir. We will probably, if we have time later on, we will have questions for the panelists. But right now, sir, we will go to our second speaker, Dr. Shomendranath Nag, Professor, North Bengal University. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. And therefore, I must express my thanks to IGNOU as a whole. And of course, I was in a fix, and I was not in a position to understand that about the mysterious goodness from your part to invite me as a panelist among that the great panelist that has appeared in that screen. But because I was just one day back, therefore I was not in a position to prepare my any sorts of that power presentations and others. But as I was residing in Siliguri, and it was a very much a focal point known as that the gateway as well as the chicken neck. Because of that, this North Bengal is I should say the treasury of that so many ethnic diversity. In spite of the fact that North Bengal that still remains as a part of that the same traditions that we the Indians and we are bearing the traditions of the Indian philosophy and having a center for tourism. Because of that, it is just at the foothills of the Darjeeling, Sikkim, Bhutan, and that neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Nepal. And therefore, and the same times, that North Bengal is again, I am telling that such kind of ethnic diversity that sometimes rock the whole of the country. For one example, before my presentations, I can cite to one example to enlighten the positions of that area. Jalpaiguri, a small district having its 151 language and dialects. And out of that 151 dialects or the language, 35 is still waiting for classified to which group it belongs. That is the whole situation. Another thing is that my previous panelist and he was mentioning one very good questions, the relationship between the Chotanagpur and the Gangetic Plains. But here we are, that we are representing the relationships between the Chotanagpur and that plains areas that is in the Duars in the tea plantation. For one example, that the Orao and Munda, they are originally hailed from that areas. Munda, they have their mother language, Mundari. But it is only this part that the Munda, they are not in a position to speak in their own mother language, and there was a mixing of the language, that is the Bengali, Hindi, and the Orao, and there was a language that is called Sadri. And this is the lone example that this language you cannot find anywhere in other part of our country except in a Duars that become the language of the Munda. Now they are speaking in Sadri. Such kind of diversity as well as the unity that we are assembling here. In the year of 1901, the populations of Siliguri was only 784. Now it is going to touch 10 lakhs, a cosmopolitan town. We cannot demand that. We cannot demand that Siliguri is a center for the Bengali population, although the influx from the East then in Pakistan in the year of 1947 and as well as in the year of, that is in the 1962, there was a new situation that give that impetus to the influx of that very population. And there is sometimes that the ethnic conflict arises. As I am doing my research and a teacher of ethnic geography, and because of that, it is my special point of interest, and I am doing on the ethnic unrest, like in Darjeeling, like in Kantapur, why they are, what is the background behind them. But again, we are saying that in spite of the turmoils, in spite of the fire of that kind of, that is the struggles, still there is a one voice, that is we the India. It is the peculiar character, and it is our, that is the win, that we the Indians, that is the diversity and unity. And now is because this is a discussion on tourism, and I am sitting here on a tourist center, and I have my own versions of that one and own experience of the tourist economy, what it takes place in that part of West Bengal, that is the northern part of West Bengal. Tourism is not only one of the most world booming industries, generating trillions of dollars, but it has another wide spectrum. It also one of the most important factors in making different, just a cultural and economic bonding among the different nations and their peoples. It also plays a pivotal role in questions of integrity and bindings of different shades of peoples having different customs, language, religions of a country like India. The feeling of one nation and one country. For example, you just say the relationship between the plains and the hills, that the ethnic identity of the hills is quite different from the plains, and that the plains peoples, they are mostly the Bengali speaking peoples, although in Siliguri town they are near about more than, that is 51% of the people they speak in Bengali and 49% of the people they speak in another language. And in the hills, they speak in not only in the language of Nepali, but there are so many groups and dialects in the hill people. In spite of the fact, there is the influence of the Tibetan cultures, for example, in Kalimpong. And again, you just come to that the plains, that in the doors, that was the door of the Bhutan. Previously, in the past, it was the area of the Kujibihar dynasty, the one of the great dynasty that ruled over there for more than 400 years. This is also a unique history of North Bengal. And then it was taken over by the Bhutan government, Bhutan army. Then again, there was a war between the East India Company and that is the Bhutan after the discovery of the tea plantation, tea gardens in Assam. And therefore, there was another culture that has developed, and there is so many diversity are there, and North Bengal has a special kind of historical background, and it has become a focal point for so many tourist place of attractions. And it was not only a tourist attractions of the home state, but it was a tourist attractions for that is the whole of the country, as well as even the international tourists. They are used to come in that place, and Darjeeling has become such kind of place, Sikkim has become such kind of place, and it has a North Bengal has a special positions in the historical background. So please let me allow to give a salient features of that part which I represent here. I shall not go to a bigger spectrum because tourism industry and the diversity of our country, it is a very, very big one. It is not possible to place here these positions in a very short way within a very short time. So I like to confine that there are what are the positions of North Bengal, what are its background, and what is the historical representations in the history of our country. Because a major part of North Bengal, it was not a belong to even to India during the period of East India Company, and after taken over by the British government, some part of that areas that was annexed, and that is why a different kind of, that is the difficulties that has been arisen. And you know that there were so many historical backgrounds, Chit Mahal, a very problematic features, which mostly belongs to Bangladesh, or there was no demarcation between India and Bangladesh. Thanks to our government's efforts, that this problem has been solved in a later part of that decade. Now, in the earliest, that the North Bengal roughly correspondent with the northern half of what used to be identified now as that with the Mahotsav. And Mahotsav, it was a place of for the Buddhist culture, and that is now it is in Malda, and some of the part they are now in Bangladesh, and during the period of that is the Pearl empires, there it becomes a great center for Buddhist learning, and the Devapal they established here that the university which are very much closely related with that Nalanda and the Takshashila, or that is the Takshashila University. Even the Yuan Shah, he visited that place. At that time it was Kamrup, and that was now that is a part of present protectoral. That is the statues that were unearthed, and they were preserved in the North Bengal University museums, and still there are so many sites that a ancient history that prevails. It comes under that, even the Shashanku. And after that, there was came from the Shen dynasty, and we know that Shen dynasty, they originally belongs to the Karnataka, and it is a glaring example that a mixtures of the culture and the mixtures of that one, in spite of that time, there was a barriers of Bindas, still that the Karnataka, that the amalgamations of the culture of Karnataka and that is the Gangatic plains, that was a unique features to denote that the unity in diversity between the south and that the north. And again, that was gone to Shashanku, and then that the Pandua, and this one, that is the Malda, has become a focal point of political places. Again, thereafter Lakhon Sen, it was told that Lakhon Sen was the last Hindu rulers of Bengal. But history tells others, at that time, when Lakhon Sen fled, that in the fear of that the Bokhtiyar Khilji, at that time there was a great ruler in North Bengal, he was called Raja Prithu. And that Bokhtiyar Khilji, he came to invade that the dynasty of Kuch Bihar through the Enayatpur, the older names of Maimun Singh now, that but he faced a defeat in the hands of that the King Prithu, and that was also a history, there was the Prithu god. It becomes a historical place of tourist attractions. And North Bengal is not only a place of historical background, it is a place of amalgamations of so many different religions, so many different ethics, diversity, as well as a relationship, bondage of relationships that is reflected not only within the integrity for our own country, but it also makes a bridge between the international relationships like that in Nepal, like that in Bhutan, like that in Bangladesh. And so, this part of North Bengal has a special characteristics to demand herself as the focal point for the integrity and the tolerance for each other and the mutual respect of each other, so that we can say in a single voice of a breath that we the Indians, in spite of so many ethnic diversity and some of the ethnicity, they are now emerging and demanding their own identity. But their own identity does not mean they are taking the shapes that they are not the Indians. They are all in an equal voice with the Indians, but as a separate ethnicity, we need our own identity. That is another case that can be solved or that can be discussed in a sociological aspect. But it is true that North Bengal is a place where we are living in a very united way, and North Bengal is a place and that where so many diversity, they remains united. North Bengal is a place, so many, that is the language and the religions, they live in a very peaceful way, and we can have a glorious declaration that no communal tensions that existed throughout the North Bengal. And it is again that the tourism, they are playing a very, very important role in that way. There be so many different peoples coming from different parts, taking their own traditions, taking their own habits and their language, and North Bengal is ready to accept them, and they have accepted it. So North Bengal has now a place of multilinguistic areas, multi-religious areas. North Bengal has a place for that is a place of unity and integrity. And it is that the tourism, the industry has played a very, very important role in that way. And North Bengal is practically, except ST industry, there is no other any basic industry is there, but only the tourist industry that are the way, that is for their survival. So North Bengal is not only for the place for tourist attraction for its scenic beauty, but as well as North Bengal is a place for its old traditional historical role. Bangar in Dakshin Chব্বিশ Paragana, it is one of the Bangar kings. It is one of the formidables. That is the king of India, of Bengal, and still excavation is going on, and it has become a tourist attraction spot. Adina Masjid, Shona Masjid, and the Go, that has also become a very important tourist spot, historical tourist spot. At the Madan Mohan Mandir in Kuchbihar, it has also become a historical spot where so many travelers pass for the tourist attractions, and it need to develop certain infrastructures, and we can hope that North Bengal will be emerge as one of the most attractive place for the tourist attraction. In short, in the last said that I can give only one account that before the pandemic situation, the annual income of Darjeeling Hills only was more than 100 crores. And then she came, it was near about 60 crores. In a very small areas, it is very much enough because most of the peoples they depend upon there. That is on the tourist economy, coming of the tourist and all the economies that are roaming about that tourist, and they are with the peoples of the North Bengal, that is the hospitality. And that hospitality is a great asset of the North Bengal for the survival of them as well as for the cause of the national integration and to host the peoples of different shades, religions, and the culture of that very parts. And in a very short, that I like to mention, this is one about the North Bengal, and I confined my presentations that instantly about the North Bengal as I am here representing that the Siliguri unit. I again express my thanks to IGNOU for organizing such a kind of interesting topics. Not only that interesting topics, but it is for the important topics at the age of going to be 74 Independence Day, and with a view that the national integration and the building of a nation that we are going to build in the future. And we hope that the government is taking the serious steps so that the tourist economy may be developed and more that is if they will be flourished, because already that tourist economy occupied at least 8.9% of the total GDP of our own nations before the pandemic situation, and 20% of the employment potentiality was there. Although there was a warning that it is a very much difficult to reach the pre-pandemic situation not before 2026, but I hope that we can overcome this situation, although the international situation of course is going to be an alarming, but tourism will revive and survives, and that will give our national integration and the national economy in a very strong positions if we can and have that this kind of strong feelings and the measure. Thank you again to the organizers and giving me an invitations to appear in this panel. Thank you very much.
Where you have emphasized on the unity and diversity and the significance of tourism, how exactly we have made it possible to retain our unity in spite of emphasizing our diversity. And in this in this context, I would like to take this privilege, because I have this special privilege out here to intervene. Of course, all throughout our colonial histories, a number of voices have been overlooked and number of communities marginalized, and this is the opportunity of bringing these people into the forefront and allowing them to make their own claim for identity. And as you said, this claim for Dr. P. Abdul Salam, Assistant Professor, Department of BBA Tourism, JNRM, Port Blair. Dr. Salam, please. Dr. Salam, your...
Yeah, just a minute, madam. Are you able to see my screen, madam?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. I extend my hearty thanks to all the delegates and especially the IGNOU Regional Center, Kolkata, for giving me this opportunity to present this paper in front of you all. I am thankful to Dr. Suram Raja Rao sir. He called a day before yesterday and informed me about these seminars. When we are talking about tourism, historical tourisms, the tourism industry is, with the advancement of transportation and communications, it is growing and people are traveling farther and experience the world. The international tourist arrival, which was only 25 million in 1950, which reached to 1.4 billion in 2018. When we see the tourist arrival data of Andaman Nicobar Islands, then there also you see a very tremendous growth. From 1980, we received 9,850 tourists, which reached to 6 lakhs, around 6 lakhs in the year 2018, before the COVID pandemics. Here in Andaman Nicobar Islands, mostly we receive the tourists are domestic. More than 95% tourists are domestics, and rest is only the foreign tourists we receive in these islands. Most of the domestic tourists are interested in historical tourism. So there is a tremendous scope in the development of historical tourism in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. People nowadays wanted to travel from known environment to unknown environment to escape from the daily routine life. And more than that, people wanted to learn something from the visited place where they are visiting. So, from the history point of view, Andaman is well known for natural-based tourism, but historically also we are having very rich and we have very rich history of these islands. Now, I would like to give some introductions about these islands. It is located in the 6 degree to 14 degrees north latitudes and 92 to 94 degree east longitudes. Apart from that, we have 8,249 square kilometers area and 38 islands are inhabited. Because our islands are very near to equator, so we have humidity. The humidity is high here in Port Blair and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. You can see the forest cover is very high, so environmentally it is very clean. So tourists prefer to come to our islands to see these beautiful islands. You see the locations of Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. It is located in the southeastern corner of Bay of Bengal, and the distance between Port Blair to the metro cities of mainland India, that is the Chennai, Visakhapatnam or Kolkata, is almost equal, around 1,200 kilometers from Port Blair, but at the same time, it is very near to the Southeast Asian countries, maybe Burma or Bangkok. You see the Kuala Lumpur, Singapore's, Sumatra. These all places are very near to Andaman Nicobar Islands than our own mainlands. When we go through the history of these islands, historical references of Andaman Nicobar Islands, then we find there is a reference of Andaman Islands in the Hindu epics Ramayana. Then there is a reference in Greek geographers Ptolemy in 2nd century. In his writings, there is a reference. Likewise, Chinese monk Ai Tsing's in 7th century, he also referred this island in his writing. Likewise, Arab merchants Abu Zaid, Hassans, and Suleiman in 9th centuries. Likewise, Tanjore inscriptions of Chola king, 1050 AD, like Marco Polo in 1290. Likewise, many people have referred in their travel writings about these islands. But the first and authentic information of these islands were available from the 1789 survey led by Lieutenant Archibald Blair and Lieutenant R.H. Colbrooks. Now, I would like to give some insight of the very important islands which are very popular for touristic point of view, where people visit to learn some things about the history. Here, this is the Chatham Islands, very small islands. It's located on the southwest corner of Port Blair. In this island, the first attempt to colonize was made in the year 1789 by Captain Archibald Blair. This settlement was later moved to Port Cornwallis in North Andaman. The idea being that it was eventually become a naval base. The scheme did not, however, materialize, and the colony was closed in the year 1796 due to health hazards, inclement weather, poor communications, and the hostility of tribes. For over 60 years, there was hardly any civilized activity in the region. Meantime, the first war of independence took place in mainland India. A large number of Indian soldiers in the British Army revolted against British rules. Immediately after this war, the British government in 1858 decided to reoccupy the Andaman Islands for penal settlement in order to isolate those who raise voice against British rules. The first batch of 200 freedom fighters of the First War of Independence landed in Andaman Nicobar Islands in Chatham Islands. So this is the island that. To commemorate that, every year on 10th March, we organize official functions to pay rich tributes to heroes of First War of Independence. The terms Kala Pani was become synonymous with transportations to the penal settlements beyond the sea. According to some, the expressions Kala Pani has been used with reference to the Sanskrit word Kal, meaning time or death. The term Kala Pani therefore meant the water of death or a place of death, from where none returns. For the transportees, Kala Pani virtually means cruel, inhuman treatment for the rest of their life. A small sawmill was set up there in these islands by the British government in the 19th century to export variety of Andaman timber to England, which is still functioning in Andaman Islands. The second very important touristic place, and which is also very popular for tourism point of view, is the Ross Islands. Ross Island was the headquarters of Indian penal settlements. Ross Island, named after the famous marine surveyor Sir Daniel Ross. The island is situated on the entrance of Port Blair Harbour from the eastern side in the South Andaman. Due to shortage of potable water at Chatham Island, Dr. James Pattison Walker, the first superintendent of the newly formed penal settlement of Andaman Island, shifted the settlement from Chatham Island to Ross Islands. The convicts were in iron and fetters. They started cleaning jungles in Ross Islands to make their own home. They have no idea or knowledge of cutting or felling big forest trees. Hence, many died in the falling trees as they were in chain and fetters. Thereby, their movements were restricted. Many convicts, because of harsh living conditions, tried to absconding from Ross Island in large number with the help of raft, thinking that they could go to India via Burma. Among the runaway convicts, there was one Dudnath Tiwari, a sepoy of 14th Regiment of Native Infantry, who was sentenced to transportations of life for desertions by the Jhelum Commissions. He arrived in Ross Island on 6th April 1858 from Karachi port. He absconded on 23rd April 1858 from Ross Islands with a large group of convicts. They managed to reach the Great Andaman Island and started to walk northwards to reach Burma, unaware of the presence of the Great Andamanese tribals in the regions. They walked through the forest. In no times, they were captured by the Great Andamanese and were killed except Dudnath Tiwari. He pleaded for mercy from the leaders of the tribes. He was treated kindly by the tribe and eventually became a popular member of the group. He even married young tribals, 2 girls, and remained with the group of tribes for over 1 year, leading a primitive life. Meanwhile, the Great Andamanese tribes planned an organized attack on the Aberdeen British camps. Dudnath took advantage of the opportunity and escaped from the tribal camp and informed the British about the impending attack. They immediately prepared the camp to retaliate and eventually managed to kill a large number of Great Andamanese when they attacked the camp. It was an uneven battle between trained soldiers equipped with modern arms and tribals fighting for freedom with the most primitive bows and arrows. The British, of course, honors Dudnath by releasing him for saving the Aberdeen British camp and preventing many casualties. These battles of 18th May 1859 is known as Battle of Aberdeen. A memorial for the Battle of Aberdeen is erected in Water Sport Complex near to Aberdeen Jetty in memory of these Andaman Aborigines who bravely fought the battle against the oppressive and retaliatory policy of the British regime. Then again, the next very important island, which is popular for tourism, historical tourism in Andaman, is Viper Island. Viper Island derived its names from the vessel HMS Viper, in which Lieutenant Archibald Blair came to Andaman and Nicobar Islands in 1789. The jail was abandoned when the cellular jail was constructed in 1906. In any talk about Andaman and its role in the freedom struggle, it is the cellular jail that finds frequent mention. But before the cellular jail was constructed, it was the jail at Viper Island that was used by the British to give punishment, inflict the worst form of tortures and hardship to those who try to free the country from the British rules. Viper Jail got the notorious name Viper Chain Gang Jail. It was in this jail that members of the chain gang were put to hard labor. The Brits Kishore Singh Deo, popularly known as Maharaja Jagannath of Puri, was kept in the Viper jail and he died in 1879. It was here the Sher Ali, a Pashtun from Peshawar, was hanged after he assassinated Lord Mayo, the Viceroy of India, on February 8, 1872 at Hopetown Jetty. The importance of Viper Jail was declined after the constructions of Cellular Jail in 1906. The building of Cellular Jail was unique in its own way. The name cellular is derived from its unique feature of having only cell and no dormitories. It had a central watchtower with 7 radiating blocks like spokes of a bicycle wheel. All these 7 blocks with 3 stories were not at equal angle from the center. Each cells measured 13.5 into 7.5 feet with only 1 ventilator. It was built in such a way that all entry and exit points would be controlled by the central watchtower. This jail is made up of red bricks manufactured in the settlement, mainly in the Mini Bay and Dundas Point brick kilns. More than 30 lakhs of bricks have been consumed to construct this colossal structure. A 2-story building at the entrance of the cellular jail produces daily quota of 30 pounds of coconut oils, 10 pounds of mustard oil, and target that were beyond the physical capacity of all. Dire punishment followed for those who failed to meet the quota. Punishment was barbaric. Tortures and floggings were frequently resorted to on the flogging stands. Sackcloths, uniform, unhygienic diets, crossbar fetters, neck rings, shackles, and chains were other deterrents for those who refused to submit to the brutal warden. The punishment varied from handcuff for a week and fetters for 6 months to solitary confinements. After this, the islands were in the hand of Japanese occupations of the islands and Netaji's visit to Andamans. The Japanese occupied the Andaman and Nicobar Islands during the World War II. From 23rd March 1942 to 7th October 1945, it was under them. They put hundreds of people to death in the most barbaric way on suspicions of passing information to the British. Many educated persons rounded up as suspected spies were kept in the cellular jail and later sought death. The Hampriganj Martyr Memorial stands today as a mute witness to the inhuman treatment of Japanese meted out to the citizens of Andaman. Netaji, the supreme commanders of INA, visited Andaman Islands Netaji landed in Lambaland Airport, Port Blair, on 29th December 1943. A ceremonious reception at the airport was given by the Andaman branch of INA to Netaji. The most important event of the history took place on 30th December 1943, on the second day of Netaji's visit, when he hoisted the tricolor flag at the historical Gymkhana ground in presence of hundreds of Indian islanders, besides the Japanese forces. Then after the parade, they sang national song from the main dais after the flag hosting ceremony. After this memorable function, Netaji visited the infamous cellular jail, but the cunning Japanese forces who escorted him did not sow those cells where the first ranking elite member of League were kept in a solitary cells of the jail. He appointed Colonel Loganathan as the chief commissioner of the islands and handed over the provisional government to him. However, the Japanese military rule continued their reign of terror, which is still remembered by the local populations. In memory of this, Netaji's arrival and hosting national flag at the first place to become free from British. To mark this, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi hoisted a high-mast flags of 150 feet on the 75th anniversary of the hoisting of tricolors on Indian soil by Netaji. And in conclusions, I would like to say that the historical tourism has a good potential in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Island tourism is not yet marketed Andaman on the basis of history. More historical sites should be identified and make them presentable before tourists with good write-up and accessibility. We have to groom the youth and motivate them to learn the rich history of freedom struggle, suffering, pains, and tortures met by freedom fighters to make us free from the clutches of British rules. Apart from this freedom-related history, the Andaman Nicobar Island is having the history of tribes, cultures, the cultures of local peoples, traditions. The Andaman is well known as Suram Raja Rao sir told that it is just like a mini India, where people from Kashmir to Indira Point and Gujarat to Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh, we find all people, all languages of India here in one small, beautiful island. At last, I welcome and I invite you all to make a visit of these islands of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Thank you for giving me these opportunities. Thank you.
Dr. Abdul Salam, thank you so much. It was a very informative and elaborate presentation. And on my personal behalf, I thank you for this, this rich data that you've put before us. And it almost on my personal behalf again, I makes me feel inadequate that I wasn't aware of. History is, of course, not my subject, but I wasn't aware of so many historically rich facts, which is buried and which is making your place so famous, and the potentials of history there. Thank you very much, sir. I would now like to request Mr. Shiva MS. Mr. Shiva?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
First of all, I would like to apologize to you for not switching on video because like our internet connectivity is very poor in Lakshadi Island. I think I can continue with audio mode.
Absolutely. Please do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank RC Kolkata and RC Cochin for providing me this opportunity to present before you regarding the topic Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Like I think it is more apt to speak as a speaker from through IGNOU regarding this topic Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat, because like I think we are the only educational institution where it is in Jammu and Kashmir and for to write the next.
Mr. Shiva, I think we lost connection. Your connection?
An opportunity to speak about Lakshadi and officer in Nehru Yuva Kendra under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So here we have a unique collaboration with IGNOU, like where which is not in any part of India. Our IGNOU Special Study Center 14176 is attached to this Nehru Yuva Kendra, Kavaratti. Kavaratti is the headquarters of Lakshadi Islands. So now quickly I'll run through this Lakshadi Islands. Coming to the history of Lakshadi, like Lakshadi Islands was first identified by an European traveler, Marco Polo, and post which the settlements have happened here. Like in 7th century, like there were some Muslim settlements. When this trade was happening between these Arab countries and the western coast of India. So post that it has changed hands between many rulers, majorly ruled by the Chera rulers of Kerala. And post that the Portuguese has occupied, and after that it has come under the control of Tipu Sultan, and once Tipu Sultan was defeated by the British, it has come to the control of British. And post which it has been integrated to the Indian Union. So this is the short history of Lakshadi. And coming to the geographical location of Lakshadi, like it is located at a distance of around 400 kilometers from the western coast of India. Like it is nearby to the cities of Kozhikode and Kochi of Kerala. Lakshadi, it consists of 36 islands spread over a distance of 100 to 400 kilometers apart. Out of these 36 islands, only 10 are inhabited. The other 26 are not fit for inhabitation because of lack of water as well as the soil. So only these 10 islands are inhabited with a population of 60,000 as per 2011 census. So this is the geographical location. And coming to the strategical importance of this, one of the island, Minikoi, is lying very close to 9-degree channel. Like it is like a few hours of travel to Maldives, which is lying in an important position where around 700 to 800 international ships pass through every month. So it is such a strategical location, and Indian Navy and Indian Coast Guard have a strategical presence in these islands. So this is regarding this location here. And coming to other parts like education here, all the 10 islands have at least high school level facilities, and there are no like professional colleges in Lakshadi. Like just 3 years back, we have started one arts and science college in one of the island, and they are offering only a minimal of courses. So mostly students are depending upon mainland for their further studies. And I have to mention here like how important IGNOU is, a role of IGNOU is here. Like around 900 students now, they are able to get at least a UG degree without going to this mainland. And coming to this, or through flight, and flight is and ships, we have around 3 ships running from Kochi to Lakshadweep. So but this also depends upon the weather situation. Lakshadweep usually it faces a fair weather from November to April, and from the remaining month, April to September or October, it is the monsoon season. We have this southwest monsoon, which makes difficult for the people here to travel or for even the connectivity issues during that time. So everything, the islands of Lakshadweep are dependent upon this ship only. So starting from food to the essential items for any items for that matter. So this is the connectivity of Lakshadweep. And then coming to the food here, like rice, coconut and fish is the staple dish of Lakshadweep. Tuna is available in abundance in Lakshadweep. Like you throw a net and you get a lot of tuna. So such is the potential for the tuna production in Lakshadweep. And coming to the culture here, people are 98% population of Lakshadweep is Muslim population, and they are native settlers of here, and they have been given scheduled tribe status by Government of India, considering this geographical isolation and the difficulties they face. And the language here is called Jazari. Jazari is like a mixture of Arabic, Malayalam, Tamil. But it is almost similar to Malayalam. And Malayalam is taught in all the schools over here. So they understand Malayalam, but the language they speak is Jazari, which is understandable to speakers of Malayalam. And coming to economy here, Lakshadweep mainly depends upon tourism. Though we don't have any mass tourism kind of thing, like government here encourages only less quantity and high quality tourism. So this is mostly because of there is one rule like how we have in our Northeast India, this permit kind of thing, like inner line permit to that Northeast India has. Lakshadweep too has a permit system, wherein only with the availability of a permit issued by the administration, people can enter Lakshadweep. Unlike Andaman and Nicobar, where we can get just ticket and we can move for tourism, here tourism is limited. This is most in fact because of the lack of facilities here, as well as like to safeguard the coral reefs here. Like if we encourage mass tourism, there is a chance like this coral reefs, which is very feeble in nature, might get affected. Because the entire islands is just thriving upon the coral reefs. It is sitting upon the coral reefs. If any damage to the coral reefs happens, it threatens the survivability of this island. So that is the reason why mass tourism is not encouraged in these islands. This one. And the political setup of this island is like we have one member of parliament for this entire Lakshadweep Islands, and there is no legislative assembly like Delhi. So it is the same setup of Andaman Nicobar, where one administrator is there and one Lok Sabha MP for the entire island of Lakshadweep. So this is the short summary of Lakshadweep Islands. And I thank our Madam Dorothy Madam for providing me this opportunity to speak about this Lakshadweep Islands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siva. Well, we have approached the end of the panel presentations, and I would like to take this opportunity to lay before the panelists if there are any questions that can be addressed to them. So we're laying the floor open for questions now. I think there are no questions. So,
Madam, let us also request everybody to come to come on their video and all, so that in fact the region center can even take the photographs.
Okay, right, sir. I think only I think Professor Chattopadhyay had to leave, so we will not get him here. But
we have already
yes, as
just for
yes,
report and all? Let us just take.
Yes. May I please request all of you to please put on the camera, the video, so we can have a photograph for participation.
Oh, Kaustubh, please kindly take the photographs of the participants. Pralankar is not there. Ask him to switch on his video. Dr. Praveen Pralankar, would you mind?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am here.
Can you just switch on your video camera, please, for the photograph? Yeah. Kaustubh, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. May I now request Dr. Praveen Pralankar to deliver the vote of thanks? Dr. Pralankar?
Dr. Pralankar?
A very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of this meeting organized for the organized under एक भारत स्वस्थ एक भारत सशक्त भारत और श्रेष्ठ भारत program for the celebration of the 73rd Independence Day. In this process, I would like to, give my sincere thanks to all the panelist members who presented their views, and it was very informative, and at least there were many things that I came to know through their views, and so I give my sincere thanks to all the panelist members, and I would like to give the special thanks to regional center Trivandrum, who provided us the platform for this WebEx seminar. So it without his help, this program would not have been organized. So I give my sincere thanks to him also. I will like to give sincere thanks to Dr. Raja Rao sir, Dr. Dorothy ma'am, and the host institute or the host regional center Kolkata for organizing a wonderful meeting, and all the staff members of regional center Kolkata deserves a special thanks And at last, I would like to give my sincere thanks to Dr. Sujata ma'am also, who coordinated this meeting in a very cordial manner. It was well organized and very